Hello cavemen. Tonight we will continue with why you probably wouldn't last a single day in the Stone Age. You don't wake up, you're woken by cold air biting your face like it has a personal grudge. No alarm clock, just a stabbing wind curling into your animal skin blanket and whispering, "Good morning, time to suffer." Your body's curled in a ball, knees to your chest, trying to conserve warmth. It's not working. The fire from last night is long dead, so is the comfort. The floor is dirt. Not metaphorical dirt. Actual, uneven, cold dirt. It's lumpy. It's damp. It has a pebble perfectly positioned under your hip just for fun. You groan, but no one cares. The rest of the tribe is already stirring, scratching, coughing, and stretching like creaky marionettes. You sit up. Your breath hangs in the air. Your fingers feel like sticks of ice. You instinctively reach for your phone, except there is no phone. No electric anything, just silence, and the sound of someone blowing their nose directly into their hand. You tug your furs tighter, but they're damp with your own sweat from last night. That's the thing no one tells you about sleeping in prehistoric fashion. Animal skins insulate, but they don't breathe. You wake up clammy and cold. You stink. Everyone stinks. The whole cave smells like old smoke, wet leather and feet. You crawl outside. The dawn is grey. Birds are somewhere, yelling at the sky. A sharp wind greets your bare legs. Your shins scream. Your toes are numb. There's no coffee. No tea. No glass of water waiting. Your mouth is dry like it's been lined with wool. You lick your lips, they're cracked. You swallow. It hurts. There's a water stream nearby, sure, but it's icy and probably has fish poop in it. This is the Stone Age's version of a wake-up call. It doesn't include a gentle playlist or a motivational quote, just survival. You look around. A few people are already up, squatting by the embers of last night's fire, trying to coax it back to life. You go to help, hoping the smoke will warm your face. It doesn't. The logs are wet. The kindling is damp, and the person in charge of the fire gives you a side-eye that clearly says, "Don't mess this up, rookie." This is when you realize you are the weakest link. And that fire? It's not optional. It's heat, light, cooking, safety, and morale, all in one. Historians still argue whether early humans truly understood the symbolic power of fire, or if it was just a really effective way not to freeze to death. But you just want your fingers to stop hurting. Someone hands you a stick and points at a flat rock. They grunt. You grunt back, awkwardly. You are now tasked with helping light the morning fire. No matches, no lighter, just friction. The stick slips. You nearly hit your knee. You try again and again. Your palms blister before the smoke appears. You cough. Your arms ache. You consider dying. Meanwhile, a toddler waddles by gnawing on a beetle. A teenager throws a bone at a dog. An old woman farts. You miss your bed. You miss walls. You miss anything resembling privacy. Then, just as the fire wheezes to life, your stomach grumbles loudly. You haven't eaten since last night, and last night was a strip of dried meat that tasted like salted bark. So before you get comfortable, take a moment to like the video and subscribe to the clan, but only if you genuinely enjoy what I do here. Outdim the lights, maybe turn on a fan for that soft background hum, and let's ease into tonight's journey together. Your hunger is real now, the kind that pinches, the kind that makes your knees feel hollow. And guess what? There's no breakfast buffet, no cereal, no toast, just the vague hope that something edible hasn't already been eaten by a wild animal. The day has barely begun, and already you're behind. You're sent to forage. No one asks. They just grunt in your direction, then motion to the trees beyond the camp like, "Go on, figure it out, soft skin." You wander off with an empty basket made from woven reeds, and a sinking feeling that you wouldn't recognize a poisonous berry if it punched you in the throat. The forest is still waking up. Everything drips with morning dew. Branches creak overhead, Birds shriek like they've just seen something they really didn't want to. Probably you. You step carefully, avoiding roots, ducking under branches, and realizing that yes, your feet are already soaked. The ground is squishy, the bugs are awake, and your stomach, it's louder than the birds. You spot some little red berries. They look friendly, round, tempting. But this is not a cartoon. In the Stone Age, food was a gamble. Some berries made you stronger, others made you hallucinate, vomit, and then die in a puddle while your tribe said, well, that was done. You hesitate. Somewhere in your brain, modern wisdom whispers, if you don't know what it is, don't eat it. But your stomach yells louder, do it. You pluck one. Sniff, taste, it's sour, not terrible. You wait, no immediate vomiting. You eat 2 more. Congratulations. You've completed your first Stone Age breakfast. 3 suspicious berries and anxiety. Historians still argue whether early humans passed down foraging wisdom through verbal tradition or trial and error horror stories. One theory suggests that young gatherers followed experienced adults to learn the seasonal rhythms of nature. Another theory suggests that if your cousin keeled over foaming at the mouth after eating something green and fuzzy, you just didn't eat that anymore. You stumble on a few more edible leaves, a beetle, some bark. You chew a bit, because what else are you going to do? Then you hear it, growling. Not your stomach, something deeper, a low rumble from somewhere behind the trees. You freeze. It could be a wild boar, or worse, a big cat, maybe a saber-toothed one. You realize you have no weapons, not even a sharp stick, just a woven basket full of leafy sadness. You back away, slowly, quietly, trying not to rustle anything, trying not to breathe like a panicked child. The growling fades. You didn't die, but you realize foraging is not a passive hobby, it's active survival, with the added bonus of possible mauling. You return to camp with your sad haul, a few berries, a handful of greens, nothing that screams contributor. The others don't say anything, they don't have to. They glance, then go back to their own food, chunks of dried meat, some roasted roots, a rabbit leg. You sit by the fire. Someone hands you a gnawed bone out of pity, not respect. You chew on the scraps. They taste like smoke and regret. Then someone laughs. It's the deep, full-body laugh of a man with all his teeth. He says something to the others and points at you. You catch one word, child. You're not sure if it's because you brought back useless food, or because you're chewing like a toddler. Maybe both. A toddler walks by, carrying a mushroom bigger than your head. You wonder how he knew it was safe. Maybe he doesn't. Maybe you're all just gambling, one bite at a time. Still, that mushroom looks amazing. You make eye contact with a squirrel. It stares at you like it knows how this ends. And you realize this is breakfast. This is as good as it gets. You feel it creeping up. Nature's gentle tap on the shoulder. Not hunger. The other thing, the one nobody wants to talk about in history books. Yes, you need to go. But there's no bathroom, no hole, no designated tree, with a polite sign saying, please squat here. You wander off, clutching your stomach like it's a fragile pot about to crack. You pick a direction away from the camp, hoping for privacy and absolutely praying you don't run into anyone or anything. The forest is vast, yes, but so is the audience. Birds, bugs, possibly that saber-toothed whisper you thought you heard earlier. You find a bush that looks sufficiently leafy, duck behind it, and squat like a broken action figure. Here's what no one tells you. Doing your business in the wild is an act of balance, vulnerability, and humility. There's no toilet paper, just leaves, and each one is a lottery ticket. Soft, scratchy, poisonous, you pick one that seems gentle, say a silent prayer, and, hey, not bad, could be worse. You wipe, you breathe, you survive. Then, movement. Behind you something crunches, you freeze mid-clean-up. Maybe it's a bird, maybe it's a hyena, Maybe it's your dignity crawling away. You turn slowly. Nothing there, just shadows, and maybe your imagination. But your heart is doing backflips. You rush back to camp, wiping your hands on grass, and wishing you had, well, literally anything else. Historians still argue whether early humans had designated latrine areas or just did their business wherever the spirit moved them. Evidence from preserved settlements suggests that some groups actually buried waste systematically. Others apparently just made sure they weren't doing it near the fire pit. You clearly are not part of the organized ones. Back in camp, your shame hangs on your shoulders like another fur. Nobody says anything, but you know. You wash your hands in the stream. It's ice cold, the kind of cold that makes your knuckles scream. You scrub with sand and rocks, like nature's soap. Your hands are raw, but at least you're clean. Kind of. You glance around. A few others are grooming, picking fleas out of each other's hair, or scraping grime off their arms with sharp shells. It's intimate and oddly practical. You try to mimic it, scratching behind your ears like you know what you're doing. You don't. A child throws a rock into the stream and hits your foot. It's a direct hit. He doesn't apologize. You don't retaliate. You just add it to the list. Cold, hungry, embarrassed, and now bruised. You finally sit down on a log near the fire, hoping for peace. But there's a smell. Not the fire, not the meat. You. You lift your arm and sniff cautiously. Ah yes, odor great. You reek of smoke, old sweat, and something disturbingly earthy. You glance at your furs. They're soaked in it. Still the tribe seems unbothered, probably because they all smell the same. This is life. This is baseline. Clean as a myth. You're just varying degrees of filthy. You shift your weight. Your legs ache from squatting. Your pride aches from everything. And it's still not even noon. You're handed 2 sticks and a job. Not a cool job. Not a job that earns status or admiration. Your job is to make fire. Again, the tribe's morning flame fizzled out sometime during your toilet adventure. And since you're the new guy, the one who doesn't speak, doesn't hunt, and can't even forage without picking anxiety, you're now officially the fire person. No one explains how. They just toss you the sticks and point to a patch of dirt. You sit cross-legged, the tools of combustion resting uselessly in your lap. You look at the dry wood. You look at your hands. You sigh. Fire is not magic. It's friction, focus, and fury. You start rubbing, stick against stick. Your palms slip. You reposition. Again. Your shoulders start to burn. So do your thighs. Not with fire, just pain. A puff of smoke appears. You gasp. A spark. Then it dies. You start over. A child walks by. Points. Laughs. You ignore them. You channel your inner survivor. You will produce heat. You will bring light to this world. You will snap. The stick breaks. You sit still for a moment, staring at the broken symbol of your incompetence. Somewhere behind you, someone coughs meaningfully. You start again with another stick. Historians still argue whether early fire-making was a communal skill or reserved for a few experts. Evidence from ancient hearths suggests that fire wasn't just utility. It was sacred, the heart of the tribe. Losing it meant fear, cold, and danger. No pressure. You spit into your palms, grit your teeth, rub faster. Smoke rises. You breathe slowly, trying not to hyperventilate. And then flame. Tiny, flickering, but real. You gently transfer it to dry grass. Blow softly. It grows. You nearly cry. The others nod in approval, and someone tosses a chunk of meat on the rekindled flames. It sizzles. Smells amazing. Your stomach growls. You lean in, basking in warmth and validation. But your hands are wrecked, blistered. The skin's raw, like you've been wringing out history itself. A woman sits next to you and offers a paste made from chewed leaves and ash. She smears it on your palms. It stings like betrayal, but then numbs. You grunt in gratitude. She grunts back. Progress. You stare into the fire. It dances like it knows secrets. You think about lighters, matches, electric stoves, and you realize they're all cheats. Delicious, wonderful cheats. Your legs start to relax. The warmth creeps into your bones. For a moment, you almost forget where you are. Almost. Then someone behind you yells. You flinch. It's the hunters. They're gearing up, grabbing spears, axes, stones, laughing, thumping each other on the back. You catch the eye of one. He stares, tilts his head, then tosses you a crude wooden spear. You fumble it. It hits your foot. The tribe laughs. You laugh too, kind of. Apparently, you're going hunting. You miss the fire already. You barely make it past the first hill before your feet start screaming. No boots, no socks, just a crude wrap of hide tied around your ankles, which does nothing to stop the sharp stones, thorny twigs, and prickly memories of your orthopedic insoles back home. You try to keep up. The hunters are fast, efficient, silent. You're not. Every few steps, you step wrong, crunch a twig, kick a rock, trip on nothing. One man turns around, raises a brow, and then steps into the bush with the elegance of a jungle cat. You follow like a fridge on rollerblades. Your feet shredded. Each toe feels like it's been individually insulted. Your heels are blistering, and the ground is not friendly. Nature here doesn't welcome you. It tests you. The forest around you is dense and humid, the kind of air you can chew. Bugs buzz near your ears, like they're whispering gossip about you. Sweat trickles down your back. It itches. You don't scratch. You're trying to look capable. Historians still argue whether Stone Age humans developed hardened souls over time, or whether everyone just walked in pain and pretended they were fine. You're not pretending, you're hobbling. Suddenly, the group stops. The leader raises a hand. Everyone crouches. You crouch too, but it's not graceful. It's a slow descent of creaky knees and regret. Ahead, a deer, tall, sleek, completely unaware of the chaos stalking it in mismatched furs. One hunter readies a spear. The tension is thick. He looks to his side. His partner nods. They're a unit. Silent signals. Shared breath. You sneeze. Not loud, not explosive, but enough. The deer jolts, bolts. Everyone stands up. No one speaks. You consider melting into the earth. The leader walks up, takes the spear from your hand, not in anger, just surrender, like let's not kid ourselves. They move on. You follow, now demoted, to watch the bags. You limp behind them with the grace of a deflated balloon. A stick snaps under your heel. You hiss, look down. Your wrap is torn, your foot is bleeding. You try to tough it out, walk it off, but every step is like stepping on Legos in hell. You pause at a tree, lean against it, breathe, look up, and there on a branch above you, bees. You don't move, just admire them, buzzing, focused, productive, painful. You glance back toward the hunters. They're gone. You are officially alone, and your foot is leaking. You limp through the trees, one aching foot after the other, desperately trying to spot a familiar face, or at least hear a familiar grunt. But the forest doesn't care. It's loud. Yes, birds, wind, something rustling in the distance. But none of it sounds like help. You pause. Try to listen. Then immediately regret it. Because that rustling, it's getting closer. Not a soft squirrel rustle, a heavy one. Deliberate. Breaking twigs. Breathing. You freeze. Something large is moving between the trees. You can't see it yet, but you feel it. The way the forest holds its breath. The way every bird suddenly shuts up. You glance around for a weapon. You've got a stick, a blunt one, possibly decorative. Then, from behind a thick bush, a shape emerges. Low, muscular, covered in short fur and muscle and death. A saber-toothed cat, or at least something cat-shaped, with too many teeth and not enough mercy. Its yellow eyes meet yours. You don't move, neither does it. It sniffs the air, takes a step forward, and now it's just you, your stick, and 170 pounds of prehistoric disapproval. You want to run. Every cell in your body is screaming, run, but also don't run. You try to remember what to do. Play dead? No. Climb? There are no low branches. Scream? Probably not helpful. Your legs tremble. Your hands sweat. You try to back away slowly, but even that feels loud. Your foot snaps a twig. The cat twitches. Then, miracle. A whooping yell slices through the trees. One of the hunters bursts from the side, waving a torch. The cat snarls, turns, and bolts into the brush. Your savior doesn't look at you. He just growls something in caveman and keeps walking. You're not dead, but you're definitely humiliated. Historians still argue whether early humans regularly fought predators or simply avoided them at all costs. Some cave paintings suggest bravery. Others suggest really good running. You follow the hunter back to the group, your pride dragging behind you like a second injured foot. They're already regrouping, having failed to catch anything. Everyone's annoyed, sweaty, and mosquito-bitten. One man's shoulder is bleeding, another's toe is swollen. You blend into the misery. Someone tosses you a strip of meat from their pouch, probably out of pity. It's tough, salty, and vaguely smoky. Also, best thing you've eaten all day. The tribe doesn't celebrate failure. They just move on, back toward camp, walking like nothing happened. Like they didn't just narrowly avoid becoming cat food. You limp beside them, hyper-aware of every branch, every bird, every possible tooth. And you realize something. This isn't adventure. This is maintenance, a daily routine, a constant effort to not die. And you are not built for it. The walk back to camp is long, quiet. No one talks, but the silence says everything. We're tired, we're hungry, and we're not impressed by you. You keep your eyes on the ground, half to avoid tripping, half to avoid the judging glances. Your feet are shredded, your hands are raw, and your ego, well, it's somewhere under a tree being eaten by ants. You finally reach camp, and it's alive with movement. Smoke rises, kids shout, dogs bark, elders grunt. Someone's pounding something with a rock, and it's unclear if it's food or an instrument or a stress outlet. You drop near the fire, hoping to disappear, but the moment you sit, a cloud of bugs descends on you like a buffet just opened. Fleas, gnats, mosquitoes, the size of your thumb. They land on your arms, your neck, your eyelids. You swat, miss, swat again. One goes in your mouth. A nearby woman chuckles. She's rubbing ash and crushed herbs on her skin. You copy her, smearing a mix of grey mud and crushed leaf onto your arms. It smells like burnt salad, but the bugs back off, slightly. Historians still debate the full range of insect-repelling tactics used by Stone Age tribes. Some used smoke, others used urine. You're praying the ash paste isn't the second one. You try to rest, but the bugs are persistent. They crawl into your furs, nip at your ankles. A beetle skitters across your knee and just stares at you, like it's sizing up its next real estate investment. You stand up and move to a different spot, only to sit on an anthill. You leap up, yelping, swatting your backside as the tribe looks over with mild curiosity. One child mimics your hopping dance. Cool, now you're the entertainment. You retreat to a rock near the edge of camp, scratch your arms, and sigh. Then you notice it. Your skin. It's covered in bites, red bumps, and what you hope is just a rash, and not some ancient skin disease. One old man walks by and offers you a handful of charred bark. You blink. He nods. You chew. It tastes like burnt tires, but it soothes your throat, and weirdly, your headache fades. A fringe theory among anthropologists suggests early humans had a sophisticated knowledge of herbal medicine passed down orally long before writing. Whether that bark was medicine or just something to keep your mouth busy, debatable. You sit in silence. The sun is high now, baking the earth. Your bites itch, your legs ache, your pride is bruised, and you've still got half the day left. Someone walks by with a full basket of berries. You think about your morning's sad attempt. You sigh. A fly lands on your eyelid. You don't even flinch anymore. You just whisper, "Do your worst." The sun is now directly overhead, and it's not just hot, it's offensive, personal. Like the sky took one look at you and decided, let's see how long this one lasts. There's no escape, no umbrellas, no SPF 50, just wide open camp, some barely there shade under a tree that's already occupied by a snoring elder, and the overwhelming sensation of your skin slowly toasting like a forgotten marshmallow. You try to sit still, but the heat seeps into every part of you. Your furs stick to your back like a wet towel. The bite marks itch. The blisters on your hands and feet feel like they're bubbling. Your mouth is dry again. You crawl over to the stream and dip your hands in. It's freezing. Sweet relief. You splash your face, soak your hair, even dribble a handful down your neck. It helps, briefly. Then the sun evaporates it like a cruel joke. Nearby, someone's boiling roots in a clay pot. The steam rises lazily, but even that feels hot. You watch them stir with a carved stick, expression unreadable, probably daydreaming of ice. You spot a younger boy using a flat stone as a makeshift fan. You try to copy him, but the air you generate is so hot, it feels like it's mocking you. Historians still argue whether early humans adapted to intense midday heat by working around it, napping, resting, conserving, or whether they powered through because survival didn't care about comfort. Cave art doesn't show naps, but you suspect they happened. You collapse near the edge of camp, belly to the earth, praying it's cooler. It is sort of, the dirt has absorbed just enough shade to feel less hellish. You let your cheek press against it. You close one eye. You try to pretend it's a luxury spa treatment. A stick pokes your ribs. A toddler. He points at your face. You grunt. He grunts back. You think it's a compliment. You sit up slowly and realize everyone's still doing stuff. Someone's sharpening bones. Another's weaving a basket. Two teens are laughing while tossing pebbles at each other's heads. You, meanwhile, are losing the will to exist. Then, as if summoned by your suffering, a thin cloud drifts across the sun. Shade, brief, fleeting, holy shade. You sigh, out loud, dramatically. Someone throws a bone in your direction, not aggressively, just casually, like eat this and stop whining. You gnaw on it. It's tough, dry, and probably a leftover from yesterday, but you don't care. You chew like it's the best steak of your life. The cloud moves on, sun's back. Your shoulders hiss in protest. You lie flat again, staring up at the branches. Somewhere above, a bird drops something that barely misses your face. You close your eyes. This is not a vacation. This is not a lifestyle. This is trial by solar fire. And it's only getting hotter. You're too hot to move, too hungry to nap, and too itchy to think. That's when you notice something crawling on your leg. You swat, miss swat again. It's gone, for now. Then another lands on your arm, tiny, winged, and angry. You slap it, and it explodes into a smear of prehistoric vengeance. You sit up, looking around. Everyone else seems to have reached a state of bug-related zen. They're either ignoring them, covered in mud, or so used to being bitten they don't flinch anymore. You, however, are under attack. Your skin is a buffet. Mosquitoes dine with confidence. Fleas are running laps in your furs. Something with too many legs skitters across your shoulder, You slap yourself again. Miss. One of the elders hands you a chunk of dried dung. You blink. He points at the fire. Oh, smoke. You toss it in. The campfire flares briefly, releasing a cloud of thick, eye-watering smoke. You wave it toward yourself like expensive perfume. It works for about 10 seconds. Then the wind shifts. Now your face is in the smoke, and the bugs are back for dessert. Historians still argue whether Stone Age people used specific plants for insect repellent or simply endured the bites. Some ancient remains suggest mud coatings and oily pastes were common, especially during summer months. Others think they just scratched a lot. You begin to scratch too, and scratch, and wait, that one's bleeding, cool. A dog limps over, sniffs your leg, then lies down beside you, as if to say, yeah buddy, we're all suffering here. The afternoon heat sags. It's the kind of sticky, buzzing lull where nothing makes sense and everything itches. Even your eyelids itch. Someone tosses a pile of herbs into the fire. The smoke changes color, thickens, takes on a spicy edge. The bugs retreat a little. You sigh in fragile victory. Then, a scream. Everyone snaps to attention. A boy runs into camp holding his arm, covered in angry red welts. Hornet sting. You wince in sympathy. The old woman nearby grabs a paste from a pouch and starts smearing it on his skin. You look at your own bites. Red, swollen, uneven. You hold up your arm. She glances at you, squints, then hands you a leaf. One, singular, leaf. Message received. You're not dying, just whiny. You chew the edge of the leaf, trying not to take it personally. Bugs still buzz around your ears. You swat lazily, now acceptance settling in. You stare at the fire, trying to focus on something other than the itch, the smell, the heat. Your eyes glaze, your fingers twitch. A mosquito lands directly on your nose. You don't even react. You've entered the final stage of caveman discomfort, passive suffering. You squint up at the sky, praying for a breeze, a cloud, a passing meteor, anything to break the sun's hold, but it just stares back, unblinking, relentless, like a giant spotlight trained specifically on you. There's no shade left. The small tree near camp is full. The others are either too far or home to some very territorial wasps. You try to hide under a stack of firewood, but all you get is splinters and a spider the size of your thumb. So you accept it. You sit in the open, letting the sun roast your scalp and shoulders. Your skin is hot to the touch, red and raw. You look down and notice the first signs of what might be a sunburn. Stone Age edition, and there's no aloe vera here, just your own tears and possibly chewed moss. A woman nearby rubs some grey sludge onto her arms. You inch closer. She notices, lifts an eyebrow, then hands you a lump of what looks like mud mixed with crushed plants. You hesitate. She nods. You smear it on. It's cool, sticky, smells like swamp and mint. Your skin sighs in relief. Historians still argue what early humans used for sun protection. Some believe mixtures of ash, mud, or animal fat served as primitive sunscreen. Others think people just got used to being leathery. You're hoping for option one. You find a rock to lean on and close your eyes, but the light still burns through your eyelids. You turn your back to the sun. Immediate regret. It's now cooking your neck. You twist again, then try lying flat. A mistake. The rock is blazing hot. You leap up like you sat on a stove. Your lips are dry. Your tongue sticks to your teeth. You crawl to the stream and dunk your face in. Glorious. You sit back up, dripping, and see someone roasting a fish over the fire. You lean closer, drawn in like a moth. It smells divine. You reach for a piece, only to get slapped gently with a stick. Not yours. Understood. You slink away. Your stomach growls. Your skin tingles. Your eyes water from heat and smoke, and the overwhelming feeling that modern life is a lie you desperately want back. A bird shrieks above. You flinch. It drops something. Not a feather, not food. Something wet and disrespectful. You wipe it off with the last shred of your dignity. This is the Stone Age sun, judge, jury, and executioner. And you're just the daily offering. You're dozing off near a pile of rocks, finally slipping into that fuzzy, almost sleepy state where your body gives up and your brain goes offline, when a sharp grunt jolts you awake. Two men are arguing, loudly, over a stick. Not just any stick. A long, polished club, dark from use and shaped with care. One's holding it like a prized sword, the other's pointing and gesturing as if to say, "That was mine, you thief of wood." Tensions rise. Voices get sharper. The camp subtly repositions itself, some moving closer, some drifting away. You sit very still. You're in the splash zone. The taller man jabs a finger at the stick. The shorter man jabs it at the taller man. The stick still in the middle. Now it's symbolic. Then, boom. One shoves the other, not a playful push, a real rib-rattling shove. They circle, snarl, clash. You blink, and it's a tangle of limbs and snarls and dirt and fury. The club hits the ground. Dust rises. A child starts to cry. Dogs bark. You inch backward. This is not your drama. This is not your stick. But then someone shouts your name, or rather your nickname, Stick Loser. Apparently the tribe has already assigned you the title, based on your earlier fire stick failure. Fantastic. You raise your hands. Not my fight. No one's listening. Eventually the fight ends with a headlock and a bleeding lip. An elder steps in, grunts something that sounds suspiciously like, "Enough, idiots." The taller man retrieves the stick. The shorter one limps off. No one claps. No one cheers. It just ends. Historians still argue how Stone Age people handled conflict, whether fights settled status disputes, or if communal rules kept aggression in check. Some think it was all-out brawls. Others believe in quieter systems of peacemaking through elder intervention. You personally are now pro-elder. You sit down again, this time under the watchful eye of a grandmother sharpening a flint knife. She doesn't look at you, just sharpens, slowly, meaningfully. You cross your arms and pretend to meditate. Someone tosses the club down near the fire. No one touches it. It's radioactive now, symbolic, possibly cursed. You decide to stay very still for the next hour. Moving seems to cause problems. The tribe quiets again. Some return to their tasks. A girl begins weaving something from reeds. A boy carves a figure from bone. Life resumes, but you can feel it, a tension beneath the surface. This world doesn't run on laws or HR meetings. It runs on strength, respect, and memory, and everyone remembers everything, especially failure. You sit in the dust, legs crossed, chewing on what might be a root or might be part of someone's broom. Either way, it's chewy and bitter and tastes like regret. You're desperate to blend in, to seem useful, so you watch the tribe, how they speak, how they move, how they grunt. There's clearly a rhythm, a shared code. You just don't know it. Two men nearby exchange a series of clicks and short grunts. One throws a rock, the other laughs. Then a woman responds with a low hum and gestures toward the stream. Everyone nods. You try to imitate the hum. It comes out like a dying goat. A child snorts. Another mimics you, grunting in slow motion, like a bad impression of a caveman in a cartoon. You smile, awkwardly, raise your hands. Fire good, you offer, like a sitcom extra who wandered onto a documentary. They stare, then go back to ignoring you. You attempt another entry point, offering your root broom to an elder. He smells it, grimaces, tosses it into the fire. Right, message received. Historians still debate how early human language sounded. Some believe it was a mix of gesture, tone, and symbolic sound clusters, primitive but layered. Others argue for proto-languages, with full grammar emerging sooner than we thought. You're inclined to believe the first one, because whatever they're speaking now, it's beyond you. You try to mimic the gestures, a hand wave, a shoulder shrug, a low grunt with rising tone. A woman tilts her head, frowns, and replies with a series of rapid clicks that sound suspiciously like sarcasm. Someone chuckles. You've officially become the village mime. Still, you try again. Mimic a hunter's stance. Gesture toward the forest. Nod meaningfully. They look at each other, then at you. Then someone mutters something that probably translates to, "Please stop." You're not just an outsider, you're linguistically bankrupt. And it's lonely. You never realized how comforting words were until you didn't have any. You watch them continue their tasks, working, laughing, sometimes arguing, but always connecting. You sit in silence, chewing your pride like old meat. The sky darkens slightly. A breeze rolls in. Someone lights another fire. A girl comes by, sets a small bowl near your feet. Inside, a handful of seeds. She doesn't say anything, just walks away. It's the first gesture that isn't mockery. You nod at her back. Maybe you're learning. You finally figured out one thing, how to sit without pain. Cross-legged, back straight, elbows resting on your knees. You look almost wise, like someone who belongs, until you glance down. Your outfit is falling apart. The furs are sliding off one shoulder in a way that's not cool or tribal. It's more like a wardrobe malfunction in slow motion. The leather belt, if you can call it that, is barely holding, and the stitching done earlier by someone who was clearly having a laugh has come undone in exactly the worst places. You try to adjust discreetly, tug the hide up here, rewrap the knot there, but every movement creates a new problem. One shoulder pops out, then your thigh is showing, then you realize the back flap is completely gone. A gust of wind hits. You shiver, not from cold, from exposure. You look up. A small group of children is pointing. One mimics your tugging gesture, but far more exaggerated. Another starts fake posing, strutting like a ridiculous model. You groan. This is worse than the language barrier. One of the women notices. She smirks, walks over with a handful of something. Fibers? Vines? She doesn't ask. Just starts tying things around your waist, like she's repairing a broken puppet. You try to help. She swats your hands away. You freeze like a scolded toddler. When she's done, she steps back, nods, and walks away without a word. You look down. It's better. Still itchy, still stiff, but at least nothing vital is flapping in the breeze. Historians believe Stone Age clothing varied depending on climate and available resources. In colder regions, thick hides and furs were layered. In warmer areas, minimal coverage was common, just enough to protect and decorate. But fashion, that was always tribal, always specific, always full of meaning. You clearly chose the wrong look today. A man walks past and mutters something. You catch a single word that's probably a nickname, judging by the nearby laughter. Goat skirt. Fantastic. You walk toward the stream, trying to regain dignity. But the outfit is stiff now, tight in some places, loose in others. You walk like someone wearing a wet towel and a rope belt. At the water, you see your reflection. Sunburnt, bitten, mud-smeared, dressed like a lost extra from a failed survival show. You sigh, and then, just as you crouch down to splash water on your face, your newly secured belt snaps. The furs drop. You freeze. Somewhere behind you, a bird screeches like it just saw something horrifying. You scramble to rewrap yourself, heart pounding, face burning. Fashion in the Stone Age wasn't about style. It was about function. Yours currently failing at both. You crawl back to camp, clutching the furs, pretending it didn't happen. No one comments, but you hear a few muffled laughs. Your new nickname probably already spreading. After your wardrobe malfunction, you decide it's time to wash off the shame, literally. The stream looks peaceful enough. Sparkling water, slow current, leafy overhang. You strip down cautiously, trying to shield yourself with a strategically placed rock, even though modesty here seems more of a modern invention than a shared value. You step into the water. Immediate regret. It's freezing, like soul-snatching cold. Your breath catches, your feet cramp, your inner monologue screams, "Get out." But you stay. Pride demands it. You sink in slowly, up to your waist. The shock turns your skin to gooseflesh. Still you keep going. You dunk your head. The cold punches you in the brain. You surface, gasping, hair slicked down, blinking through the sting. You feel kind of clean, cold, but clean. You start scrubbing. No soap, just your hands and desperation. You scrape off dried sweat, bug guts, mysterious cave dust, and emotional residue. You splash more water, rubbing your arms raw. You even attempt to clean your sad excuse for a fur tunic. And then you feel it. Something brushes your leg. You freeze. It brushes again, slimy, wriggling. You leap, not gracefully, like a cat falling off a table. You flail, splash, fall backward. You swallow a mouthful of prehistoric creek. You scramble to the edge, dragging your half-naked, half-drowned body onto the mud like a shipwreck survivor. Behind you, a small, harmless fish swims away, probably laughing. You lie there panting, mud on your face, pride in tatters, your newly rinsed clothes, now soaked again, but not with dignity. Historians believe Stone Age humans used rivers and lakes, not just for drinking and washing, but for rituals. Some evidence suggests specific cleansing spots were considered sacred. You're pretty sure this spot is just cursed. You wrap the wet furs back around you. They squelch. You stand up, dripping. And that's when you see it, on your ankle, a leech. You flinch, gag, slap at it. It clings. You grab a stick and start scraping. The tribe is now watching. One elder chuckles. Another offers you a rock. You're not sure if it's to help or to end your suffering. Finally, the leech lets go. You hurl it into the stream like it insulted your ancestors. You limp back to camp, soaked, shivering, bleeding slightly, and spiritually hollow. Someone hands you a piece of bark to dry off with. It's rough, it works, you don't complain. You sit by the fire, dripping. No one says a word. But the silent message is clear. You've bathed. You've bled. You've earned a sliver of respect. Or at least you're no longer the dirtiest one here. Night falls like a curtain, fast, heavy, and absolute. There are no street lights, no porch lamps, no glowing windows, just the fire in the center of camp, crackling and snapping like it's trying to hold back the darkness on its own. You sit close to the flames, finally warm, drying out your damp furs and your pride. The smoke curls into your face. You don't even flinch anymore. At this point, smoke is your natural habitat. Around the fire, the tribe gathers. It's quieter now, calmer. The energy of the day has worn everyone down into a kind of wordless trance. Then the stories begin. Not in your language, of course, but you understand the rhythm. The elder who speaks, wrinkled, toothless, wrapped in a cloak of animal skins, has a voice like weathered stone. His hands dance as he talks, painting scenes in the smoke. The others nod, laugh, gasp, murmur. You watch closely. A tale of a great hunt, maybe, or a spirit in the forest, or a bear that turned into a man. One part clearly includes someone slipping on a rock, because half the group laughs, and all eyes flick toward you. You chuckle, because what else can you do? Your existence is now folklore. Historians still argue whether early storytelling around the fire was a way to pass down wisdom, warn of dangers, or simply entertain. Likely all three. These weren't just tales, they were instruction manuals with punchlines. One woman adds something to the story. Pantomime's flailing arms, more laughter. You pretend not to understand, but your ears burn. A man mimics your earlier battle with the leech. Another imitates your fancy walk after your clothing disaster. You become the night's headliner. You want to crawl into the fire and disappear, but then unexpectedly the mood softens. The elder makes a sweeping gesture, as if drawing a circle around the group. He says something low, grave. Everyone goes silent, even the dogs. He points to the sky. Stars are out now, dense and bright, like a spilled jar of diamonds. He speaks of something ancient. You don't understand the words, but the tone shifts, mystical, reverent. A child sits in his mother's lap. A man wraps an arm around his partner. You feel it. Connection. You don't speak their language. You don't share their blood. But for a breath, a heartbeat, you're part of the warmth. And then you yawn. Loud. Everyone turns. You clamp your mouth shut. Too late. The spell is broken. A few snickers. The elder narrows his eyes at you, then chuckles, a small, gravelly sound. He waves a hand. You're forgiven. But just when you think it's bedtime, you're handed a torch. The night watch. Apparently, it's your turn. Of course it is. The torch feels heavy. Not in weight, though your arm is already sore, but in responsibility. You are now the final defense between the sleeping tribe and everything that creeps, crawls, or claws through the dark. Lucky you. The rest of the tribe spreads out near the fire, curling up under furs and leaves and old hides, like sleepy burritos. Grunts fade into slow breathing. One baby fusses, then quiets. Dogs settle. Silence deepens. Except for you. You're standing at the edge of the camp, torch in one hand, sharpened stick in the other, scanning the trees like a budget security guard at a museum of nightmares. The torch crackles. Shadows dance wildly across the brush. Your eyes keep playing tricks, turning bushes into beasts, tree trunks into lurking figures. You swallow, loudly. Something rustles in the darkness. You freeze, raise the torch. Nothing. You lower it. Something else rustles. You spin, still nothing. The forest is alive, but not in the comforting way, in the you're being watched way. Your body starts to betray you. Knees wobble, arms shake. The torch drips hot sap onto your fingers. You hiss. You try to remember what you're supposed to do if something attacks. Yell, throw the torch, or just scream until the tribe wakes up and handles it for you. Historians debate whether early humans had rotating night guards, or if everyone just relied on light sleepers and loud dogs. Either way, someone was always awake, someone like you, terrified, tired, and underqualified. A twig snaps. You whip around, the torch flares, a pair of glowing eyes reflect in the brush. Your heart stops. Then a dog trots into view, tail wagging lazily. He walks past you like you don't exist. You exhale so hard, your knees buckle. You sit on a rock, cradling the torch like a security blanket. You stare into the firelight, trying to stay awake, but the warmth, the flicker, the gentle background hum of the tribe's breathing, it's all too much. Your eyelids grow heavy, your head dips. Snap. You jerk awake. You've been out for seconds or minutes. The torch has burned lower. Your neck aches. You stand again, walk a slow circle around camp. Every shadow feels personal. Every sound is a whisper of doom. At one point, you hear what might be a distant howl, or maybe just your stomach. Time loses shape. You try counting stars. You get to 23 before forgetting where you were. You mutter to yourself, anything to stay alert. You spot movement again, but this time it's just an owl, silent, judging, probably mocking you. The torch dies out. You relight it from the main fire, nearly tripping over someone's foot in the process. You whisper an apology. No response, just snoring. You return to your post, eyes dry, feet numb, back stiff. You are so not built for this. Darkness, real darkness, is something you've never truly experienced until now. Not the lights off kind. Not city night dark. This is absolute. No ambient glow. No passing cars. No blue haze from a screen on standby. Just black, thick, endless, swallowing everything outside the firelight, like a vast prehistoric mouth. You clutch the torch tighter, your grip sweaty and sore. Every creak, every rustle, every distant hoot feels like a personal attack. You know most of it is harmless, probably. Still, the forest feels alive, not in a friendly Disney way, more in a we've been watching humans for thousands of years way. You pace quietly, then not so quietly, because stealth is hard when your brain is busy composing your own eulogy. A branch falls somewhere behind you. You spin. Nothing. You whisper. It's fine. Probably the wind. There is no wind. Historians believe that prehistoric people used moon phases to plan activities. Some even think they could predict patterns in animal behavior based on lunar cycles. You can barely predict where your next step lands without tripping. You glance at the moon. It's bright tonight, spilling silver light across the trees. But it doesn't comfort you. It just makes the shadows longer. And your imagination doesn't help. You start thinking about what else might be watching. Wolves, big cats, other humans, rival tribes, bandits, cannibals. You shake the thought off, only for it to creep back stronger. You check on the tribe, still asleep. One man snores like a dying mammoth. A dog growls softly in its sleep. Then something very not asleep crunches through the leaves. This time you don't move, you just freeze. The crunching stops. You wait, breath shallow, ears straining, and then a soft, steady breathing. Close. Too close. You slowly raise your torch. The light flickers against the underbrush and reveals a deer. A deer, standing there like it owns the forest. It blinks at you, unbothered. You exhale, too hard, you nearly drop the torch. The deer walks off, silent, graceful, mocking. You sag down onto a log, heart hammering. Your whole body trembles with that post-fear adrenaline. A part of you wants to cry, not from danger, just exhaustion. But instead, you stare into the fire again. You're learning, slowly, painfully, but you're learning. That nothing in the Stone Age is easy, that survival isn't always loud, that fear often comes quiet in the still hours before dawn, and that darkness doesn't need monsters. It is the monster. Somewhere around the time the stars start to blur and your eyelids turn to stone, you lose the ability to tell if you're asleep or just broken. Your mind drifts. You imagine your bed, your real bed, soft sheets, memory foam pillow, maybe a quiet podcast whispering about the history of spoons. You ache for it like a long-lost lover. Instead, you're here, half sitting, half slumped against a cold log, eyes darting to every flicker of movement beyond the fire. Your body is shutting down, muscles cramp. Your hands, still blistered from earlier, twitch involuntarily. You've itched every mosquito bite twice. You drift off again, just a second, then jerk awake when your chin hits your chest. The torch is low. You stir the fire, tossing in more wood, trying not to wake the others. Sparks leap into the air like fireflies. You hear something in the distance. Maybe a fox bark, maybe just your brain playing tricks. You don't care anymore. You're not scared now, just done. And then, just as you think maybe you've made it, A twig snaps directly behind you. You don't even turn. You just whisper, "Please be a rabbit." It is, a tiny one, hoping cautiously through camp, probably wondering why the human statue smells like desperation and cooked bark. You let out a weak laugh, then groan. Historians debate how early humans balanced sleep with safety. Did they take turns, sleep in shifts? Was someone always up, or did they just hope nothing came at night? You're not sure how they did it, but you know they didn't do it well rested. The sky begins to lighten. Not sunrise yet, but that pale grey hint that says, hang on, you're almost there. You want to cry. You want to cheer. Instead, you just sit, eyes dry, body numb, waiting. You're too tired to panic, too sore to move, too itchy to care. A woman stirs, then a child. The tribe begins to wake, slowly, grunting, stretching. Your torch has burned out. You toss it into the fire and rise, legs wobbly, spine clicking like a bag of bones. No one thanks you, no one claps, but one man hands you a hunk of dried meat, and for the first time in hours, you smile. You made it through the night. Barely. You limp away from the fire like a man 3 decades older, each step stiff, each joint filing a complaint, sleep-deprived, sunburned, half-eaten by bugs, and fully wrapped in furs that now smell like stress. You don't know if it's dawn, or just the universe teasing you with pre-dawn lighting. Either way, you squint at the sky, hoping the sun will show itself and bring legitimacy to your suffering. The camp is stirring. People stretch, yawn. One woman pees behind a bush with zero shame. A dog relieves itself near your sleeping spot. You pretend not to notice. You try to sit, but everything hurts. Your legs are wooden. Your back is a single, solid ache. You feel like you've been kicked down a hill by a mammoth. Twice. You scan the faces around the fire. They look tired. Sure, but not destroyed. This is normal for them. A routine. For you, it was a survival film. Someone offers you something warm in a bark cup. You sip. It tastes like dirt moss and maybe boiled tree, but it's warm, and that's enough. You feel a little better. Not good, not even okay. Just alive, adjacent. You stand. Try to help move a log. Your arms give up halfway through. The log stays exactly where it is. You pretend you meant to do that. A teenager snorts. You ignore them. You're too tired to be mocked properly. A few people head out toward the trees. Another hunt. You don't even try to follow. You just sit back down and let the world blur for a moment. Historians still debate whether early humans took rest days or lived in a constant grind. There's evidence of seasonal shifts, slower winter routines, but not a single mention of sleeping in. You rub your eyes. A handful of ash ends up in your lashes. You don't even flinch. You've entered the phase of fatigue, where your brain forgets how to form complex thoughts. Someone hands you a stick with something skewered on the end, cooked meat. Probably it's charred, chewy, and delicious. You grunt your thanks. You're learning, slowly, through humiliation, hunger, and almost being eaten, learning. The toddler waddles over and drops a shiny rock in your lap. You give him a solemn nod, like a trade just occurred. He grins and runs off. It's the best interaction you had all day. You lean back, chewing, staring into the fire. Smoke stings your eyes. You don't care. You survive the night. Now comes the day. The sun climbs, golden and slow, casting long shadows from the trees that look deceptively peaceful, like they didn't spend the whole night whispering threats in your ear. You stretch your limbs, only to regret it instantly. Everything cracks. Your spine pops like dry wood. Your neck feels like it slept twisted in 5 different directions at once. You shuffle toward the stream to wash your face, but the water is colder than yesterday. Somehow, you splash it on your cheeks anyway. The shock helps you remember your name, barely. Then the smell hits you. Not the forest, not the fire, you. You sniff your underarm, pause, sniff again, like maybe your nose is broken. Nope, that's you, smoked, fermented, and aged overnight. You groan and return to camp, where people are already busy. One person sharpens a spear, another repairs a net. A woman grinds roots against a stone with the patience of a monk. You try to be useful. You offer to help carry some sticks. The old man stares at you, then grunts and points at a pile of dried animal hides. You pick one up. It's heavy, still a little squishy. You flinch, pretend you didn't, walk it awkwardly to where others are stacking them. You get a nod. Progress. You sit down again. Your work is done. For now. Then it happens. A waft of something so strong, so pungent, so undeniably prehistoric, slams into your face. The cave. It smells like wet fur, burnt marrow, and something that may have once been food, but now has its own personality. You step inside, gagging. You thought you were getting used to it, but the cave hits different in daylight. There are bones in the corner, old ones. A pile of unidentifiable mush near the entrance. Someone's furs laid out flat on a rock, like a fashion crime scene. You locate your sleeping spot. It's still warm, probably from residual body heat, and the fact that one of the dogs curled up in it during the night. You don't blame him. You lie back, eyes half open. You try to think about your bed at home. Pillows, clean sheets, the smell of detergent, a mattress. Your back, pressed against the uneven cave floor, sends a clear message that life is gone now. Historians theorize that early humans adapted to harsh smells and dirty living conditions by simply lowering their standards or never raising them to begin with. You, tragically, were raised with Febreze. A child runs by, holding a bone, like a trophy. Another one follows, smacking him with a stick. No one intervenes. Stone Age parenting seems to rely heavily on natural selection. You close your eyes, trying to block it all out. But then your stomach growls, loud. You open your eyes. A bowl of something is placed near your head. Mush, warm, smells like root paste and regret. You sit up, slurp. It's bad, but you finish it. And you realize, with a kind of sleepy, aching clarity, you made it through the night, through the bugs, the blood, the burns. But your smell, that's here to stay. The sun is climbing again, and with it, your awareness of just how thoroughly wrecked you are. Your legs feel like cured meat. Your arms hang uselessly. Your feet, numb, but still somehow pulsing with pain. Even your eyelids ache. You've survived, technically, but you've done it in the way a sock survives being dragged behind a truck. You stagger to the edge of camp and sit beneath a tree, letting your back rest against the trunk. It's rough, knobby, and uneven. Still the most comfortable thing you've felt in 24 hours. A few others begin packing tools. The day's rhythm is starting again. More foraging, more hunting, more cooking, and weaving, and scraping, and sweating. You, however, are entering the existential phase of your caveman journey. The one where your mind wanders, staring at the people around you, wondering, how do they do this? Every day, without crying? You thought surviving meant muscle, speed, knowing which berries not to eat. But no one warned you about the invisible stuff. The constant decisions, the background fear, the ache that never fully leaves, the smell that you've accepted, the silence that fills every moment between tasks. You shift your weight. Something in your hip clicks. A nearby child mimics the sound and laughs. You smile at him, just barely. Someone throws you a piece of dried meat. You catch it. You chew slowly. It's salty and bland and perfect. An old woman passes, nods slightly. You nod back. You're no longer the outsider, flailing in the dark. You're still the weakest link, sure, but now you're a link. Historians say early humans bonded deeply through shared hardship, through communal tasks and firelight stories. There were no days off, no vacation huts, just survival and each other. And now you get it. Because for all the discomfort, the injuries, the humiliation, something happened during that night watch. Something ancient. You stopped pretending, stopped fighting the primitive world with modern expectations. You became part of it. Not fully, not flawlessly, but enough. You lean your head back against the tree and let the sounds wash over you. Footsteps in dirt, a tool hitting stone, laughter, a dog's bark, the wind in the grass. No alarms, no messages, no plans, just being. And for the first time in this brutal, itchy, smelly, bug-filled reality, you're okay with that. By now, time has stopped meaning what it used to. There's no schedule, no clock, only the slow movement of the sun and the rhythm of bodies surviving. You're sitting by the fire again, the same spot where 24 hours ago you fumbled with sticks and blistered your hands. Now, you stare into the flames like you belong there. Your hair is a mess, your clothes, if we can still call them that, are stained with mud, ash, and your own trial by suffering. Your face is sunburnt, your legs are scratched, your hands are a map of every mistake you've made. And still you're here. Someone passes by and drops a bone next to you without a word. You pick it up and start carving at the meat. No questions, no thank you, just quiet, mutual survival. You've stopped resisting the world around you. There's no more internal screaming, no mental negotiation, just this. The tribe doesn't treat you like a hero. They treat you like someone who got through their first day, and that's enough. You think about your life before, the comforts, the systems, the endless cushions, and schedules, and voice assistants. You think about your mattress, and you wince, because the rock you're sitting on now has your body's shape carved into it. Somehow it's become yours. You stretch your legs, one pops. You nod like, yeah, that's about right. You look around, everyone is moving, talking or building. You don't understand most of what they say, but you understand the tone, the rhythm, the meaning under the words. You hear someone grunt in your direction. It's a short sentence, probably a command. You nod, grunt back. It's not elegant, but it works. The sun dips lower. The sky turns golden. Smoke curls into the wind like a slow exhale. You sit back, let your fingers trail through the dirt. And finally, you smile, because you've done something few people ever will. You lived one day in the Stone Age, and you made it. Just barely. The fire crackles low now. Its energy is soft, gentle, rhythmic. The stars above begin to flicker again, crowding the sky with quiet wonder. You shift under your furs, still itchy, still heavy, but somehow they feel earned now, like armor from a battle you didn't think you could win. You stretch your feet toward the fire. The warmth climbs slowly up your legs, washing over your sore knees, your tired chest, your burnt shoulders. In the distance, you hear the forest whispering, but it no longer sounds like a threat. It just is, a part of the world, a part of you. The tribe is quieter now, movements slower, softer. Someone's humming a low tune. Another child snores. Even the dogs have stopped their pacing. You rest your head on a bundle of woven grass, not a pillow, but it'll do. Your eyes close, your breath steadies. The bugs still hum, the smoke still lingers, but it doesn't matter anymore, because your mind is still, and as the fire flickers behind your closed eyelids, you slip into sleep, not from exhaustion, but from peace, because for tonight, you're safe, you're fed, you belong, and the Stone Age will keep spinning without you for a little while. Good night, survivor.